Hi guys. I just have something rolling around in my head, and I thought I would take a sec to sit and babble about it a bit. I was talking to a friend the other day about authenticity and what it means at its deepest level. I've known this friend for many years, and we've seen each other through several versions of self and have watched ourselves grow more all the time into our authentic selves. We began the conversation by commenting on the fact that we both used to have very short hair, and now we've let our hair grow long, and feel that it's sort of a reflection on who we've become over these past years. You know, we take on so many roles in life: child, teenager, mother, father, career person, grandparent, and so on. And we also behave differently with different people. Like, for instance, I can talk to my son about things I would never mention to my sister, and talk to my sister about those certain things I would never share with my son. Even some of the language I would feel comfortable using with my sister would embarrass my son. And no, I don't mean, foul language or cursing. I don't use that language with anyone. I'm talking more about, girl talk. I could never use the word around my son. He would die. Uh-oh, he's probably going to freak. I might have to edit that part out. Anyway, my friend and I were talking about how we put on masks around some people and not around others. Even our siblings, our family, will often hold us in the same place we were when we were a child, and still look at us as if we're that same person, and may have no idea who we are now. That's why the holidays are so hard, or can be for some families. So, should you go to the trouble of trying to bring them along with you on your, current life? Or is this something they would even really want? I mean, if you feel freer when you're not with them, what does that say? Maybe you're only comfortable around your newer friends or the family members you've kept up with after all these years. I think a feeling of resistance most probably indicates that we're not really being our genuine self. For me, if I'm with others and I just feel like running away, usually that's something I've done out of obligation. A lot of it seems to be pretty obvious, yet most of the time we ignore those signals that show us something is not quite in balance. In different situations, I've been asking myself, is this really me? Do I really want to be here? Do I really want to do this? Does the way I behave with these people match up with my own values and beliefs? Do I act differently with them? Well, then, who is my authentic self? What is that? And how do we know we're being that? And do we slip in and out of that self? Authentic one minute and very human the next, depending upon the situation. So does our vibration raise with some friends and lower with others? Or can we hold the light in either case? I mean, we do have different roles and therefore personality traits as needed through life. For example, you may feel free to act playful and childlike with your boyfriend or husband, but maybe not with your colleagues. Are we afraid of being judged or not liked if we reveal our true self to someone who has only seen a part of ourselves? Like a coworker? Or like, would we feel free to smoke or drink or joke around in front of our parents? Or maybe our church-going prim and proper Aunt so-and-so? When I was talking to my friend, we were going over how many versions of self there are over a lifetime. Like for me, myself, what me am I most comfortable with? I loved being with my husband because I could be me with him. The me in any mood or disposition. And I can be most of me with my son. But there are certain things that I'm uncomfortable with. Like I'm embarrassed to cry in front of him because it hurts him and he wants to fix it. I can also be parts of myself in front of my sister, but not the genuine spiritual part. So, I suppose that's not really being fully authentic. Then there's just the daily life. For example, let's say a neighbor who I have nothing in common with, someone tied to current events, likes to sit around drinking wine and talking politics. Let's say she invites me over for dinner. Well, to be honest, I can tell you right now, I don't want to go. I know I would be bored stiff and uncomfortable, not knowing what to say, because we live in two different worlds. She watches mainstream news and believes it and does what it tells her to do. The opposite in many ways of myself. Does this mean I'm better than her? No, of course not. But it probably means I won't be having dinner with her. There are so many times that I have been really upset with myself for giving in to a situation and then being absolutely miserable for the entire time. And after the fact, getting angry with myself for not being honest enough, then ending up putting myself into another unpleasant circumstance that is worlds of vibrations away from my true self. So, what do I do? I think I'm finally beginning to learn to stand by my own truth, but to do it as kindly as possible. Not ending up always saying yes to things I really don't want to do. I think that inharmonious resistance is very harmful to the body. To let people walk all over you just to be liked. We need to listen to our emotions. These emotions may be messages that need to be healed. If we're not confident, we're weak and vulnerable to others taking advantage of us. And if we only put forward our happy, perfect self all the time, No one will ever know the authentic me. Maybe we should ask ourselves, if I was trying to impress another person, what attributes would I admit to? And what about myself would I not want that other person to know? For example, like, what would you put in a dating profile or a character analysis where you have to describe who you are? I doubt anyone really ever tells the truth. I mean, they may tell some things that are accurate, but probably not everything. So, what about spirituality? You know, like for a starseed who has always known who they are on an ethereal level and knows themselves to be a brilliant light being, so constantly feels the pressure to act out that required or expected role. But what if we're not feeling it? What if we're having a bad day? Are we afraid if we show our true feelings that we won't be fulfilling our purpose, our mission? Well, if we ourselves aren't even able to accept those parts of ourselves, that's a lot of pressure. Do we try to be spiritual when we're upset or angry or depressed? I don't think that's being authentic. Seriously, being authentic doesn't mean we're always on our best behavior. It just means having the courage to be honest with our emotions and sharing how we feel about a subject or a situation, even if it might be unpopular with someone else. And I'm not talking about being stupid or brash, deciding we need to tell it like it is in every case. Well, I suppose there might be some who think that it is their true nature to be a grumpy old man or a bitchy lady. No, that's not the authenticity I'm talking about. What I'm actually getting at here is, who are you at your core? Well, of course, at your very core, your highest self, you are an angelic, beautiful light being of pure love, a fragment of God's source. But I'm talking about, who are we at our best human self? The self we are while we're here in this earthly life. So I guess what it comes down to is to do our best to be our authentic self, but within the parameters of considerate and friendly behavior. And don't fluctuate back and forth from one personality to another. Who is the real you? I think we could ask ourselves what we don't like about ourselves and why and where it comes from and what we're afraid of. Will they not like me? Will I be humiliated? The way I see it, we need to be courageous, because if we allow ourselves to be manipulated by our fears that they won't accept me the way I am, I will never be free. Well, I suppose I could go on and on here, but mostly what I wanted was to express my feelings about authenticity and what it means for us at this stage in our lives on planet Earth. And it feels to me that there might not ever be a better time to discover and express that authentic self, not only to self, but kindly to others, and see where we all land. If I'm honest with my neighbor, for instance, in the kindest way possible, I strongly feel she would understand where I'm coming from. If we all just agree to be ourselves, but at our kindest, most compassionate self, no one is going to be harmed or get their feelings hurt. I think being our authentic self is the next big step in creating that harmonious society we all crave to live in. Well, blah, blah, blah. Enough for now. Hey, thanks for listening. Bye-bye.